Welcome back. Well, China placing anti-dumping duties as high as 74.9% on plastic imports from the United States. The European Union, Japan, and Taiwan also facing similar duties from China. It comes as China blocked exports of 7 rare earth metals to the United States, despite agreeing to suspend or remove the non-tariff countermeasures taken against the U.S. Beijing also says that the 90-day tariff pause is not enough to negotiate a trade deal. Joining me now is Gatestone Institute senior fellow and author of Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America, Gordon Chang, back with me. Gordon, this is interesting. We were all talking about how this, 90-day pause was a positive, and here comes China undermining the United States again.
Yes. The trade arrangement announced last Monday was more favorable to China than the United States. The smart thing to do would be to make sure it stays in place. But what you have in China is a political system that is really very difficult for a leader to compromise. And we now have a leader in China that doesn't want to compromise. And right now, I think he wants to humble the president of the United States, which is the reason why he's not adhering to the deal and why he's hitting us with these anti-dumping tariffs, which really, which in very many ways are unjustified.
President Trump took the tariffs down during this 90-day pause. He spoke to Bret Baier on Fox News on Friday when they did the interview in Abu Dhabi, and he explained in a very nice way why he did a deal with China. Watch this.
If I didn't do that deal with China, I think China would have broken apart.
Not us, them.
We weren't going to break. We're not going to break. They would have broken apart. Our country has a lot of spirit.
Gordon, what about that? Because I think President Trump knew exactly when to hit China. He knows that the economy there is weaker than they're letting on.
Yes, and President Trump offered the Chinese an off-ramp to a collision, not only with the United States, but with the rest of the world, because China intends to flood the rest of the world with products, and nobody wants to see their local industries decimated. This was a very generous offer on the part of the United States, and the Chinese can't take it. So this shows that there is going to be real problems ahead because Xi Jinping is now on that collision course.
Maybe that's also working its way into Wall Street's thinking with this decline this morning. Meanwhile, there's South Korea, the presidential candidates facing off in a weekend debate ahead of this snap election happening on June 3rd, Gordon, the vote replacing the former president, Yoon Suk-yeol, who was impeached over his short-lived martial law declaration. Remember that in December. The current frontrunner, Lee Jae-myung, says there's no need to rush into early trade agreements with the United States, criticizing the hasty engagement with the Trump administration. So here you go, Trump, once again, in the middle of this election. You've said Lee would be bad for democracy anyway.
Yes, well, Yi was responsible for a series of impeachments that paralyzed the government of Yoon Suk-yeol, which is the reason why Yoon, on December 3, declared martial law. Yi is determined to take down South Korea's democracy. He may not be able to do it, but that's the direction. Now, South Korea has had leftist presidents before, but Yi is different because he is more determined, he's more ruthless, he's more pro-North Korea. He's more anti-U.S. than his predecessors. So this is going to be a very difficult 5 years. He's now got a 51 to 29% lead in the polls, and the conservatives are not united. So it's most probable that he's going to be elected, and we're going to have a very, very hard half decade, and I hope we get through it.
Yeah, I mean, he's another ally of Xi Jinping, we should point out.
And Kim Jong-un.
Of course.
And the reason why he doesn't want a trade deal with the U.S. is because he knows that that would solidify relations between Seoul and Washington. And that's the last thing that he wants.
Yeah. A lot here. Liz Peek, jump in.
Gordon, good morning. I'm worried that President Trump's going to be speaking with Vladimir Putin today. And last night, Russia really lambasted Ukraine once again. And now we also have Xi Jinping sort of trying to exert some authority over Trump. Are they testing him? I mean, is this a concerted effort to kind of push Trump into a corner? What do you think the president should do in response to China's breach of this trade agreement?
I think President Trump should lay the facts out to the American public and the world and reimpose tariffs. If the Chinese break the deal no longer exists, and therefore President Trump needs to show will. He needs to show Xi Jinping that he's not afraid of the Chinese. And that's what the Chinese are now saying to their own people, that they got the best of the U.S. and that China is strong and the United States not only is weak, but is in terminal decline. Now, in that type of situation, you can't cooperate with a leader like that. And we got to do something that we Americans don't want to do, and that is not to assume the best of other countries. So, yes, we've got to go after Xi Jinping. And then Vladimir Putin might notice that act of will. But if we don't do that, the Chinese and the Russians, they're just going to continue assaulting us.
Yeah, and throw Iran in there as well, because China is backing all the bad guys. China is backing Iran, backing Russia, all in the face of President Trump trying to create peaceful atmospheres across the world.
Yes, Xi Jinping is waging proxy wars. He's supporting Russia and Ukraine. He's supporting Iran and Israel. He's supporting Pakistan against India, and he's destabilizing North Africa. He is setting the world on fire.
Yeah, what a chessboard. Gordon, great to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Maria.